Good morning, everyone. As Terry mentioned, my name is Molly Lindquist. I'm the founder and CEO of Consano, a nonprofit crowdfunding platform for medical research that enables individuals to directly support specific research projects that matter to them. And I'm very excited to be here today talking about the School of Hard Knocks, definitely a topic I think we can all relate to on many levels. And, as entrepreneurs, we typically identify a problem and, come up with some sort of, service or product to solve that problem. For me, the problem started in my own body. And my story really starts in the shower, which frankly is where all good stories start, I think. It's amazing how vividly you can remember those pivotal moments in your life, and I can picture myself in the shower, feeling the lump in my breast, and immediately just getting that feeling in my stomach, knowing this is not good. This is not good at all. So I went in to get it checked out, hoping still for the, it's nothing, you're fine. I was 32 years old, so I just felt like I didn't have much to worry about. But a breast ultrasound led to a mammogram, led to an immediate biopsy. Never a good sign when all of those things happen very, very rapidly. And sure enough, a radiologist came into the room and said, "We strongly suspect this is cancer." And that is really when my life split into two parts, my before cancer and my after cancer. So over the next several months, I had a bilateral mastectomy, went through chemotherapy, got some new implants, and really came out of my experience with a new perspective on life. There were many parts of the journey that I wish hadn't happened, but I think the biggest thing that distressed me as I came out of my experience was the fact that my two little girls, who were 3 and 5 years old at the time of my diagnosis, would now face a much higher risk of having to face breast cancer themselves. So immediately, that was the problem that I was ready to solve. I am not a physician, I am not a scientist, but I have great belief in research as, the hope to get to a world where maybe they don't have to worry about it. So I started to research, how can I participate? Again, not gonna be in the lab doing the research, but definitely wanted to support the great work that was going on. And as I did my own due diligence, I really didn't find the transparency and connection that I was looking for. You might call me a bit of a type A, but I wanted to have some control and direction as to where my donation was going. So fast forward to a Memorial Day barbecue in 2012, hair's starting to grow back, starting to feel really good, and I'm lamenting to some close friends about how I just can't find this transparency. I want this ongoing connection with the research that could help my kids. And the question really became, well, why isn't there a Kickstarter or a Kiva or an Indiegogo for medical research? And that really, after a couple of beers, is when the idea for Consano was born. And so then, the question really became, how do you take this idea that seems interesting and novel and really, progress, grow it, turn it into an organization? And that, is a challenge, of course. I knew that Kickstarter had managed to raise $78 million for video games, and I thought, man, what if I could raise a small fraction of that for cancer research or diabetes research? Because what I found in my own journey is that I was not alone in wanting this transparency and connection. So today, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how, I took that barbecue idea and turned it into a national organization. In a little over a year, we launched last March, and we've launched 19 research projects from 11 really top academic institutions in a pretty short amount of time. And I've kind of honed it into 3 key things that I'll share with you today about how that was accomplished. First and foremost is finding really early believers in what you're doing, and people who, despite perhaps not even having a website, get your mission and understand what the vision is you're looking at, which is why I'm very excited to speak here at OEN today, because Linda and her team were instrumental in me in starting to make those early connections. Shelley Gunton's here, same thing. I had nothing to show them, but they got what I was doing and really helped facilitate a lot of those relationships, which was key in building my credibility. Secondly, I was able to get a meeting pretty early on with Dr. Brian Drucker up at the OHSU Knight Cancer Institute. And he really got it, saw the benefit to patients, researchers, particularly in a very challenging funding environment for scientists, and really gave me some actionable items to help really direct and kind of construct how this process would work. What type of research makes the most sense? Early stage innovative research that can use, $10,000 to $20,000. How do you ensure that every project on the site is high quality? What vetting process do you institute? So all of those very important questions that have really differentiated our organization, we were able to talk, with a renowned researcher about how to get that done. As most of you all know, Brian Drucker basically took a form of leukemia from a death sentence and turned it into a chronically manageable disease. So needless to say, he has a bit of credibility in the cancer world. So having his belief in us was very key and helped us then reach out to other research institutions, other researchers, and really attract top-notch people to help us build this vision. Number two, I would say, in terms of what I've learned, is passion and persistence are kind of the name of the game. And for me, those two things really are synonymous, because often it's the passion that drives the persistence that you need when you're hearing a lot of no's, or I don't really get it, or come back when you have some more support. And for me, that passion is derived from the people that I meet. So I've had I can't even articulate the privilege of meeting so many people who have gone through unimaginable journeys. I've talked to moms who've lost their kids to cancer. I've talked to people, living with end-stage cystic fibrosis. A mom who lost her husband to sarcoma and is now a single mom. All of those stories are fuel to my fire. So, they really build the passion and continue to build the passion, and each of those stories become a part of my story. So on those days when, you're really tired of hearing no, or you're, getting another rejection, I just channel that inspiration and that passion and push through, because I have to help make things better for those people. So finding that motivating factor. Third, I would say the thing that's really helped us grow in the last year has been a laser-sharp focus on our mission, and a very well-defined mission. So at Consano, our mission is to advance medical progress by empowering individual action. Now, that's not to say I don't have these amazing conversations with people who have gone through journeys like myself, or are a caregiver, etc., and identify many problems and many opportunities to make an impact. I do, and that's what makes it hard, because I want to solve all of those things. I want to fix it. I want to make it better, because the patients deserve that. But I'm merely one person, and accepting that and embracing that and really remaining focused on the thing that Consano can do to help has really helped us build a brand and an identity and credibility within both the research community and within the patient community. So perhaps at some point I'll have some extra time to address some of the other opportunities that each of the people I talk to has told me about it. There are a lot of them. Come talk to me afterwards if you want to hear more. But really, finally, I think that cancer really taught me that tomorrow's not guaranteed. Your life can really change in a moment. And so have fun, live life, make sure what you're doing counts. Make sure you go to bed thinking, this is my last day, I am so glad I spent it doing this. Granted, that's easier said than done. We certainly all have responsibilities that might not be on the top of our, bucket list in terms of what we'd rather be doing. But I find that even with my interactions with other organizations and people, having fun, laughing, making those interactions meaningful is so valuable, and that's what people remember. And that's why people want to help you. So, had you told me, 2.5 years ago that I would be standing here in front of you discussing entrepreneurship, discussing crowdfunding medical research, I would have thought you were pretty certifiably crazy, because that was not in my wheelhouse. That was not at all in my 10-year plan of the goals and milestones I wanted to hit. But again, going back to that theme, life happens when we're busy making other plans, really kind of sums up my experience. I think my story is probably a pretty good example of some bad lemons being made into lemonade. And, my rogue cancer cells really led me down a path I couldn't have imagined that I would be on. There are some days in this entrepreneurial journey where I feel like Rocky at the top of the steps in Philly, like, yes, and then, later that day, I'm asking the question, why am I doing this? So it's a roller coaster, definitely. But all I have to do really is look at the faces of my 2 daughters. And if Consano can help fund research that eliminates breast cancer from their world, then every up and down on this entrepreneurial roller coaster is well worth it. Thank you.